Okay. All right. My name is Afiqa Khalieda, and I'm
Yay.
22 years old and currently living in Perlis. Yeah.
Wee. All right. Apparently, like to start off, actually stumbled upon you on my Instagram page and saw your post, and I immediately love it. The one that you posted about dark matter, and I love at
Mm.
how subtle and short it is, but still, it can implement or imply so much. So, are
Yeah.
most of your work, like most of your posts, like that on Instagram?
Mm-mm.
Most of it.
Recently, yeah,
Yeah.
because I started to do art, started illustrating. And I'm also a poet, I would say.
Yeah.
I'm a writer. So
Yeah.
I like to incorporate and insert my own interpretation of how I see things and how I draw things. So, but it's mostly after I did the drawings that I could see fully the picture,
Yeah.
what could it be and everything. So it's quite interesting to delve into drawing or visual art couple because it's not really my forte, but I just randomly got into it and now I'm very, very much invested into it. Yeah.
That's what. So when did you start?
Very, very recently. It was like on November 20th or something because
Wow,
I,
this
I,
one's
yeah,
baru.
because before this I was just doing things for fun. I never really into anything, so I jump into one thing to another, doing however I want to, not because I have to. But
Yeah,
then one day I needed money, so I've been unemployed for months. So I needed money, and someone actually wanted me to commission to draw them or do anything for them. And I was like, okay, fine, sure, I do one for you. And then I have another person asking me, like they want to upah me for commission illustration because I put up an IG post yang I would do anything if you want me to write a poems ke, to illustrate ke, drawings ke, because I am capable of doing those things, but I'm just not passionate lah fully
uh
into
understood.
it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was doing it for fun before this until now macam people are actually willing to pay me, willing to put their trust in me, in my creativity process couple, and they don't care how it looks after. They just like
Yeah,
just do something for me, and
yeah,
then I
yeah.
just do it lah. So suddenly everything just falls into place now, and I think I'm just like I like what I'm doing currently, surprisingly. So yeah, things have like been changing so fast for the past weeks. So yeah.
Crazy. I'm so happy. I'm so glad for you. Yeah, I don't do drawings as in because I'm
Mm-mm.
not good at drawings, but I always look up to people who can because that's the possibilities that they can, like whatever they're feeling and all they can put it out on paper for people to see, which I find
Yeah,
like
yeah.
really amazing. You also did share to me about your background, which made me super super glad with where you are now. I don't know. That's just amazing. I'm so happy for you. If you don't mind, maybe you can like just give us like a little bit of walk through like about where what you were and now.
Yeah, okay. I've been like on a really, really bad patch before. Okay, I dropped out of school early on at 14. So I didn't have friends, especially when I just moved out to Perlis at 14. And, I couldn't go to school, so I was forced to stay at home. And I think that was like the moment young I have like so much freedom. Also, I was like very much lonely, and during those times, young, I figured, young, I have to do something for myself rather than just not do anything because that puts a lot of. I was like in a really bad place lah with not doing anything and productive. So then I started to read books, and like I have ton of books now
Yeah.
because I started reading because I can't go to school again. So I
Yeah.
started reading, and then I started to write. I thought, maybe one day I could be a writer. And then I draw and I do a lot of things early on, but I'm not very passionate about it just yet because I thought I'm underqualified. I'm not educated or anything. Young, everyone willing to get themselves into and macam with full of trust lah because this person is very much talented couple semua kan. So I'm
Yeah.
not that person. Recently I just everyone can see I can do a lot of things. I can write, I can do poems, and I could draw. I think that people believing in me, that I could do so much more for myself than I do believe in myself, is like really empowering for me. Yeah. Because I went on without knowing what to do, and now I know what I want to do. So yeah.
Yeah, that's lovely. Being underqualified or overqualified just means literally nothing. I think at the end of the day, passion still wins. You did mention that you started picking up books and started reading a lot, and you said that you mentioned just now that you said to yourself that you might be able to become a writer one day.
Mm.
So my question for you here is, what made you would want to be a writer out of all things?
Um, because I would love to tell my story, the story of my life, because I think everyone could agree, everyone who knows me lah, I could agree on it's quite tragic lah. So, and quite a shame juga. And I think I have a lot to tell, but I'm also not very much of a storyteller, or the one who writes novel couple. So I just go for poems, and it gets quite intimate lah juga. Same as, being a writer who writes novel or fictions like that. So,
Yeah. I
mhm.
noticed lately that you also do have a YouTube channel where you post this thing called posting spoken word poetry. And I think you did
Mm,
mention this on a latest video that you posted on
yeah, yeah, yeah.
IGTV, if I'm not mistaken. Do you want to share more about your YouTube channel?
Yeah, okay, so I write poems and I started reading them out loud for a couple months ago because I stumbled upon Savannah Brown, and a friend of mine introduced me to her, and she reads poems and she writes them, and then she, take videos and edited like pretty videos, and it's very much aesthetically pleasing because poetry and the visual is, it matches so much, and I was so inspired that I wanted to do something similar. I want to read my poems. I want to convey the poems into visual, videos. So at first, I just started writing, and I started reading them, and I just put anime edits on my video because, and then everyone was like, the choice of the video and the poems matches so much, and everyone was like very much liked it lah
Yeah.
because matches a lot, and people were like quite impressed I could convey into like such video in a look also,
Yeah.
and my voice juga lah for reading my poems. Yeah.
In poetry lah. Like, oh my god. Let me
uh,
rephrase my question. Who inspires you in poetry wise?
okay. Before this I only knew about Sylvia Plath
Okay.
because I love 10 Things I Hate About You, and I instantly bought the Bell Jar book from her, and I think that was like the only poetry related young I was able to get into because to be truthful, before this I didn't know what poetry is. I didn't even know if I was writing poetry until I went to a mentor, and he was like, all you're writing is prose, and that's when I learned that, oh, there's a difference between prose and poetry. And then I
Okay.
started to read, get into local punya poetry scene. I don't read so much of the luar negara punya, but I read a lot of locals punya. So the first people yang I was exposed to, Jake Malik.
Jack
He's a
Malik.
local,
Okay.
yeah, he's a local poet, and I met him earlier this year, and I think to be exposed to him, to the first local scene punya poetry, I think it changed the game for me lah, for the local punya poetry scene, because they're very impressive. So a lot of the inspiration I get for my poetry now are mostly from our punya homegrown poets. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Alright.
Cik, Cik Malik, and then Nila Mariam, lepas tu, to name a few, also Farah Aiman, I'm just like now currently it's all homegrown poets. Yeah.
That's nice. That's nice.
Some of them write in English, some of them write in Malay. Tapi sometimes they mix it up. But also the thing yang I love the most that the first time I read Jack Malik punya, he incorporated the Malay word into the English poems like very pretty beautifully because he was like, oh, the gulai colored sky sunset or
Uh-huh.
something yang very Melayu into is this English poem.
Oh my
So I was
god.
like very it's
Yeah.
amazing. I was like, it's so good. And I never wanted to stop learning poetry now because and I also like contributing to a lot of local scene punya poetry. So I love local Malaysia punya poetry
Yeah,
too.
adore like yeah, I mean like personally I do like poetry, but like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean I don't pursue it or anything. I brought like a book from Sheena Baharudin. I loved it. I
Mm-mm.
think I just read the book from front till back for like about 2-3 days je. Like bagi habis. Read that book. I just like sat down and talked to myself lah. Macam stunned. Like how is this thing like not being recognized? And I macam like there must be a community like here in Malaysia because like who
Mm.
enjoys poetry. So true enough, there it is. So it's
There is.
yeah,
It's just not recognizable. You know,
yeah.
people are
So
not recognizing it.
I think like it's time lah. It's time for people to like realize
Yeah.
like how because poetry is so. I mean, to me, I don't know what is like. To me, I think poetry is like super subtle. Like you
Mm-mm.
can write down anything because it is what it is. So the person,
Mm-mm.
the reader, kalau you baca and kalau kena dengan you. Even kalau tak kena
Yes,
dengan
yes.
you pun, you still find your own meaning to connect to the
Mm.
words. Like